world's greatest Bronze Age Spider-Man podcast. Here comes the Spider-Cast. I'm your co-host, Mike Gall, and as always, I'm joined by
Joshua Mervell, and today we're going to be taking a look at Spidey comics from June of 1989.
That's right, and we are joined by G.I. Jolie.
Yes, you are.
Woo!
Hi,
And
that's me.
thanks for joining us. And Bex
you.
Luthor's not with us, but she might be coming in later, hopefully. So
Yeah.
countdown to Bex Luthor. But also, we've got a very, very special guest this week. We've been waiting a long time for you to come back. It's none other than Cousin Brandon.
Woo!
Hello! From
Welcome
America.
back.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Remind us again where you're calling from again.
I'm coming from? I in my mind, I almost said I'm coming from. I'm calling from central Pennsylvania. So like right outside the capital of Harrisburg.
Nice. Now, when you talk to us, are you able to understand us with our Canadian accent, or are like we unintelligible to you, or is our accent okay?
It's great, actually. I think, growing up in the States too, at least I was, you're always exposed, it seems, to Canadian accents, whether it's, television shows or different actors or whatever. So for me, it's not hard to pick up. I struggle with some accents, but the Canadian's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, to be honest. Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
I feel like ours is also not too bad, because when I moved out east to Nova Scotia, everybody there was like, you sound like you're from America.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's because we're so like southern Ontario. We're like, 5 minutes from Detroit. I feel like we kind of have like a Canadian American accent. It's like right in the middle.
Right. Even a friend of mine, she acted in that movie I'm doing, and she's from Northern Ontario, and her accent is noticeably different. She's like, "Oh, you like Thundersnake, eh? Yeah." Like that's not that
Right.
but that's how she sounds to my ears anyway. Okay, so we are here to talk about Spider-Man comics. Now, Cousin Brandon, usually each of us summarizes one issue. Are you interested in doing that this time, or do you want to leave it to us?
Oh, I want nothing of the sort. I'll sit back and make snide remarks as always. Thank you.
Okay. So then, Josh, that means you're going to review Web of Spider-Man for us, right?
Yep.
Sounds good. All right. Tell us, Web of Spider-Man 51. What's going on here?
All right. So this one is 51 is Wolves Bite Back. We've got first thing that happens is the Chameleon is trying to become the new Kingpin, the new crime boss of New York. So he's kind of in this interview talking to the head of the Magia, which is the Marvel version of the Mafia. And he's kind of like telling them, I'm going to be taking over New York. I want to let you know, and I also kind of want to get your blessings. But even if you don't like me and you don't want me to do this, it's too bad because I'm going to do it. Kingpin's on his way out, and I'm taking over. So we see that he is stepping in as J. Jonah Jameson. He's kidnapped him like an issue or two ago. And he's still taking on that role, using that opportunity to kind of put whatever he wants out in the presses and kind of manipulate the people of New York. So that's pretty interesting. A really great start to the issue. Then we see Spider-Man as he catches up with some of the Kingpin's goons, and they're like, "Yeah, we're out of here. We're moving out to Boise, Idaho."
It's Boise. Boise, Idaho. Yeah,
Boise.
I've been there. It's a cool town.
Yeah. So they're leaving. They're done with all this shit. Kingpin is kind of like going downhill. They've been being attacked by wolves, is what they're saying. And immediately Spider-Man's like, wolves, that's ridiculous. Although I did fight a werewolf the other day. Maybe that has something.
So can I just interrupt really quickly?
Yeah, of course.
So I took a few screen captures. I don't really need to share them, I guess, because this is an audio experience. But in this page of the comic, I don't know if you have it up in front of you, but there's a scene where right in the middle, Spidey is sort of swinging, and it says he's thinking, "I don't know."
Mm-hmm.
That's very much that. The art there reminded me of Todd McFarlane a little bit. I got a little bit of a Todd McFarlane vibe from the artwork in that lone
Yeah, that's
panel.
digital page 6. Yep.
Is that crazy or no?
Well, he probably just copied it from, a Todd McFarlane issue, right?
Yeah. This is kind of like the height of Todd McFarlane too. Like he's becoming extremely popular around this time. We're gonna talk about him next issue. We're for the Amazing issue,
Right.
and I have a feeling that he might have some influence kind of seeping into both of the other comics now, just because his style is becoming so like popular and well known, and the covers especially are like a big reason why a lot of the Amazing issues were selling so well. So I have a feeling that they're kind of like pulling influence from Todd, because even like the spaghetti webbing feels more like Todd McFarlane.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing. That was the webbing particularly that caught my eye, and I thought this looks like Todd McFarlane's.
Yeah, I feel like it gets more spaghetti as it goes. No,
it's possible it was editorially mandated too. Right.
Oh, interesting.
Possibly, and I know that even at this point, Mary Jane's hair is completely different in Spectacular and Web. But after a while, they make the artists draw her hair the way McFarlane draws her hair.
Yeah, which is like the three weird pointy bangs.
Right.
Right.
Well, no. That's the old way. The new way is like this big. Yeah, that's the old way.
Kind of.
And then McFarlane way is like like an '80s like girl from a White Snake video, basically.
Oh, gigantic perm?
Yeah.
Connie Katane, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here I go again on my own. Okay.
All right, so after Spidey gets into that like little meeting with the Kingpin goons leaving, he goes back to Aunt May's house, which that is where MJ and him are staying currently because they got kicked out of their apartment. And he runs into Christy, who is MJ's little niece, and we get yet another hint that she is
crazy.
She's bulimic, or not bulimic, anorexic.
Anorexic. Yeah, I was going to say crazy. I'm like, this was another panel. Like, she clearly has an eating disorder. This is very serious business. It really struck
She's a little
me.
crazy as well. She constantly like swings open the door and pulls the curtains on Peter as he's showering just to look at his dick like all the time. And she's like, oops, hee. And she's like, I have a crush on Peter. Like she's totally open with it.
I probably should have read the previous issue. Jeez.
Yeah.
I don't remember she looks like the Wendy's girl, by the way. But
she does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Yeah. So we cut back to JJ's apartment. He's tied up on his bed, and Chameleon is like feeding him breakfast. And they kind of have this confrontation where JJ is like, my friends are going to find you. Like, it's over for you. Just wait until my friends find you. And he's like, you have no friends. You're all on your own. Kind of a fun, like chilling scene. Honestly, that like last panel on that page with the Chameleon as JJ, like doing the Kubrick stare at JJ is crazy. And so we go back to J. Jonah Jameson. He's looking for the Kingpin files at the Bugle. So we can use that as like a bonus to convince Hammerhead to join him, and the two of them team up so they can convince the Mafia that together they'll be the new Kingpins. But unfortunately, the Wilson Fisk file is missing. We cut over to Gloria, who has stolen the Kingpin files and given it to her boyfriend, who is one of the Lobo brothers. I can't remember his first name.
Diego, Dante, D'Angelo, something with it.
Yeah, can't remember. But he's pretty much using her to get the files. So we cut back over to Peter and MJ are looking for an apartment, and her friend possibly tricked her into looking at this like tiny apartment that is like a literal room. And MJ's a little upset, and like her headshots go everywhere when her suitcase gets hit by a car, and Peter kind of like calms her down and gives her a kiss, and together they go to the hospital and they start dealing with MJ's friend
Lorraine,
who
whose name, by the way, I'm sorry to cut you off, whose name, by the way, ironically rhymes with cocaine. So I couldn't stop seeing that. Lorraine the cocaine. I was like, oh God, that was lazy.
Anyways, Peter and her are like kind of like going back and forth, like, I don't know if you can really help her. She's got to want to help herself. So MJ's like, yeah. And then Lorraine pretty much says the exact same thing, like, I don't need your help. Then we see the arranger. He's in his limousine on his way to some sort of business meeting to arrange something, I'm sure. And a werewolf jumps on the car and rips him out. Spidey comes in and saves the day and starts beating up the werewolf, and the werewolf runs away. The arranger's like, thank you so much for saving my life. We've got to talk. And we cut back over to JJ. Sorry, as the chameleon as JJ, he goes in and he kills a bunch of the Hammerhead's goons, and he walks into his like facility and is like, we should join, blah, 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 blah. They had this like meeting. And then we cut back to Arranger and Spider-Man at the Arranger's apartment. And he's like, listen, you need to help me stop all of this because the Kingpin is gonna die and there's gonna be a big gang war again if all this happens. And Spidey's like, I'm not dealing with this again. I'm not risking my life. And the Arranger, of course, he grabs his leg in desperation and says, if you won't help me stop it, that destruction will be your responsibility.
Yuck.
Yeah, and that's where we leave off here.
And we have to let our listeners know that we've just been joined by a special guest, Bex Luthor. Thanks for joining us, Becca.
You could have just let me just show up with no introduction. I think that would
maybe I can cut that out. Yeah, it would have been funny.
Yeah. There's only like 4 or 5 traffic violations, but I got here. We're good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Don't worry. They were old anyway. They deserve to get hit.
Thank you.
Right.
I've been saying this forever. Old people.
Get rid of a lot of them.
Thank you. Can I go back to something again? I'm sorry. Again, I told you. I was
just gonna say you might as well jump in now, Brandon, because I know you're itching to say something about this issue.
I am. Well, it's okay. So I'm going to set this up. If this takes a while, forgive me. I am the biggest Twilight Zone fan in the world. It's my favorite show. I love it. There's an episode in the first season. It's called The Four of Us Are Dying, right? And the premise of the episode is that this guy, Arch Hammer, has the ability to change his face. He can look at other faces and just change his face and be, oh, wait, hey, you're Andy Marshak. You're so-and-so. The problem I always had, though, is, well, you can change your face, but your voice would still be yours. How in the hell do they not realize your voice doesn't match? So in this issue, when the chameleon shows up and he turns into the Kingpin and he turns into Spider-Man, how is he changing his clothes and how is he changing his voice? That Hammerhead's like, what? What the hell? Like, it doesn't make fucking sense. You can look like these other people. You can't change your clothes and your... I don't get it. What is this? It's stupid.
He both has the ability now to change. Like it's like a mutation almost, like some sort of like chemical was pumped into him or something. But oh no, he's a robot now, right?
No.
The chameleon?
He's an android now. Remember, he's an android now. Kingpin turned him into an android and they were looking through his eyes. Oh, I'm thinking about the cartoon.
Yeah,
that we just talked about.
Yeah, that's
I was like,
different.
that sounds
Do you
way
remember
cooler.
that?
No, I actually don't remember that. Did we review that episode?
Yeah, we definitely did. You know what? It might. Yeah, we
maybe it was a
reviewed that
different
episode. It was no. It was the Hammer. It was the Tombstone episode when they're in prison and they use Chameleon in prison to spy on everybody there, and they can see.
Okay.
Never mind. Okay.
Well, in any case, but here's the thing, Brandon. If someone has the ability to change the shape of their face, isn't it just as believable they can change their vocal cords?
But how does he change his clothing? He's dressed as Spider-Man and the Kingpin.
Well, I don't know.
I think it's his belt, right?
I don't know if they've ever defined how his powers work. Have they?
I know he has the belt that I think helps his clothes change.
Okay.
It's like a magic belt.
Sure.
Oh, cool.
I know.
A villain
No.
that accessorizes.
He's actually just always naked and shapeshifts his body to look like clothes.
That's
Like
what I
Clayface.
would
an
do.
acceptable answer. Okay, fine. That I'll accept.
Oh, wait a
Just
minute. Wait.
flesh.
Sorry, I've got to point out, I don't know if you know this, Brandon, but one of my pet peeves is when characters have a name and they have no superpowers, and then later on they get superpowers that magically match their motif and their name and everything. So apparently the chameleon originally had no superpowers. He used makeup and elaborate costuming, blah, blah, blah. Then later on, Spencer Smythe gave him a microcomputer in his belt buckle.
I thought you were going to say a macrame belt.
No.
That too. They're friendship belts.
Yeah. And he programs it with hundreds of facial features of different people, and that's how he works. And then later, he got actual chameleon powers in his body. He's mutagenically altered by a serum. Blah
From
blah
Craven,
blah.
right?
Huh?
From Craven, right? Like it's a Craven
I'm not
related
sure. It doesn't
thing.
say that here. It doesn't say that
Because
here.
they're like related.
Oh, yeah. It says
Yeah.
it says they were friends. Yeah.
Oh,
They
they're
should have
friends.
just made him at this point an actual chameleon. I would have liked that better.
Right.
With like the
Anyway.
eyes that go every which way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, a little lizard running around, and yeah, I'm like, okay.
So that's my pet peeve is when, like, what a coincidence. He managed to get right, because that means anyone could, like, why couldn't I get those powers? It just so happens that he already is called the chameleon, and that's already his thing. But anyway, okay, so G.I. Jolie, what'd you think of this one?
Ugh, not
Face.
a lot. It was hard to read. Aside from being distracted all day, it was not good. I didn't like it at all. Well, I mean, not that I didn't like it at all. Why are they coming for Kingpin's gig? I don't get it. Like,
To
just
create drama for us.
yeah, to create drama for us, and so what? That we can be like mildly annoyed. I'm mildly annoyed by this comic because the Kingpin is just gonna stomp all of them. He's annoyed. I'm annoyed. That's like the theme of the day, I think, for me and the Kingpin. I don't know. There just wasn't anything like particularly interesting or exciting. Even like the Peter and Mary Jane stuff was like okay.
Forced?
No. It was just okay. However, that friend who's a real estate agent who's showing them apartments, what a bitch.
Right.
I'm there with Mary Jane, and the fact that Peter didn't like react at all. He's like, "Oh, do you think she was playing a joke on us?" And she's like, "Of course she was."
Mm-hmm.
That stinking Jonathan Caesar keeping her money locked. Wait, her money's tied up fighting that guy in court.
Yeah. I think somehow he's still manipulating things behind the scenes while he's in jail. Yeah.
Yeah. And he just so happens to own the building that they all used to live in.
Right. Even though he's in jail, yes.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot.
Don't
like
you-
Melrose Place level drama.
Don't you lose assets when you're incarcerated? Like,
That's a good question. I don't know how it
I-
works.
I think that they talked about it last issue about like the stand-in landlord is the one that delivered the letter or something like that. So he is just like talking to the person who's running it now and telling him what to do.
Right.
So
Bex Luthor, what'd you think of this one?
yo, hey, it's been a while. I'm sorry.
Yes.
My life has just it's been fascinating. I'll tell you. I'm kidding. Oh yeah, I got attacked by werewolves. It's wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, this one was okay. Christy's in it, isn't she?
yeah.
Yep, she sure is.
And
Yakking in the bathroom.
I was right.
Yeah.
Her
How did
entire
you
purpose
know?
is I don't know, maybe her only character trait was that she was annoying and she could eat whatever and not gain any weight.
Mm.
Yeah.
She's got after school special written all over her. I didn't mind the Peter and Mary Jane stuff. I like the Mary Jane stuff with Lorraine better. I'm like, At least that's
Oh.
an interesting follow-up on something that happened previously. Like her friend had an overdose and now she's visiting said friend in a... I thought they were just never going to talk about her again. Be like, oh, she's on drugs. Oh, write her off. But, you know, she tried. That's good. As for like the Kingpin, Arranger stuff, just Peter just let the Lobo brothers go. Like let them do their thing. Well, I don't understand. This doesn't concern you.
But he's responsible, like he says in the last page, right?
He is not responsible for the actions of others. What is this gaslighting bullshit, Arranger? Like toxic, toxic red flags. We need to cancel him. Cancel the Arranger. Hashtag cancel the Arranger 2022.
Well,
Isn't that Peter Parker's Achilles heel, though?
he actually says it. He's like, oh, no, I wasn't going to help. But then he used the word responsibility, and now I have to help, right?
Yeah.
The rest of
like-
Spidey's like back, like all of his enemies need to know that that's his weakness. Be like,
Yeah.
well, Peter, if you don't do this, then you're responsible for Venom eating all those people. It's like,
Yeah, but
he's not.
They all read issue 1 when Uncle Ben got killed. They know.
Or they hear about him talk about it literally every single day.
Right. You can read it.
Alone on a rooftop,
Yeah.
crying.
Okay, we can keep jumping
yeah.
around here, but Cousin Brandon, you really haven't given a review yet, right? You talked about that
Oh,
one
yeah.
panel, but
So I guess it was better than I anticipated. I don't remember reading this when I was 14, but I absolutely did.
okay.
And the other thing that I hate, and because it goes through, I don't want to spoil anything, but it essentially goes through all 3 of the comics. So Peter Parker says multiple times when he's in the presence of the Lobo brother or the Chameleon, he's like, spider sense is tingling. Something must just be off, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stupid Spidey sense. Hey, motherfucker,
Twice.
that Spidey sense is what's kept you alive all these years.
Right.
So if it's going off, something's wrong.
Yes.
Okay? So to be so dismissive drove me crazy.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's one of those annoying little conveniences they just shove in there just to kind of make the story work, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the artwork in this one, Brandon?
I thought it was okay. It didn't, like I said, that one panel definitely reminded me of McFarlane. There's, I always think this, though. Some of these panels I think are like fine, and other ones I think look lazy.
Mhm.
But it didn't bother me, put it that way.
Right.
I was fine with it.
See, I thought the art was terrible, but I thought there was a few good panels. Like the opening splash page of the Chameleon is good. And then there's maybe a couple other panels I liked. Like we talked about the close-up of J. Jonah Jameson, like the Kubrick kind of stare.
Mhm.
And overall, I think what I did like about the art is it had that kind of 80s charm with like the flexograph colors and the like the inking style and everything. But I really didn't think it was good at all. I think it's pretty terrible, actually. And I do miss Alex Saviuk, so hopefully he'll be back next issue. But
And who did the artwork on this one?
it's Mark Bagley, who went out to draw like 200 issues of Spider-Man, unfortunately for all of us. But
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, this issue, I don't know, it's kind of hard to judge. It's almost like if Alex Saviuk drew it, it might be a little bit better, but I thought it was fine. I like the subplot of all these different people wrestling for power. I think that's a great idea. Josh, what were you going to say?
Yeah, there's stuff that I really like about this issue. I really like the stuff with Chameleon at the beginning, talking to the Magia. I thought that scene was really well done and really well written too. Like there was like a point to it. But then there were other scenes where they're just shoving as much dialogue to fill the page as possible, and it is so annoying. When the scene with the Lobo brother and Gloria outside of the elevator, and Lobo is thinking in his head and narrating his entire plan, it is so annoying.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm done with you now that I have the papers, but maybe I'm not done with you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just like, you could have done like one line, like him thinking in his head, maybe, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like they could have done it in one sentence. They could have had him just thought like, I was originally gonna ditch you after this, but maybe I'll keep you around or something like that. You know, like that's
right,
it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, all you have
all
to say
three
is,
of
I
these-
thought it was over, but.
Yeah, thank you. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. All three of these issues I thought were really heavy on exposition, where I'm
Yes.
like, I don't need every issue of a comic book to recount what just happened.
Mhm.
Right.
Like, let's have A, forward action, and B, that's exactly what Bex just said too. I'm like, and Josh, what you're saying too, you could have so quickly glossed over these things, but no, let's spell out every last word and thought.
Right.
Too much.
Mhm.
G.I. Jolie, did you have any closing comments about this one? No? I'm just wondering. Just giving you another chance.
I mean,
just-
a shrug is a closing comment.
It's just not a verbal like one.
Yeah. Yeah, this one
I didn't hate the art. I'm already looking at the next issue.
of Web?
No,
Oh.
that we're reviewing tonight.
Okay, so we might as well jump ahead and we'll say let's quickly give our recommendations. This one is like a middle thumb. It's like not a great issue, but you kind of have to read it because it all continues.
Middle
Josh?
thumb.
Like no, thumbs up, thumbs down, middle, like this.
Middle.
Yeah.
Thumb.
Yeah, I feel like it's like
this, the middle thumb.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly where I was headed with that.
yeah. I feel
Are
like
you
it's
listening?
a 5, but if you're reading through this, it's a 6, if that makes sense. Like, I wouldn't recommend it for somebody who's not going through this arc, but
Right.
if somebody is, then it's kind of essential, unfortunately. I just wish that they were fighting over something. This gang war was like, there was something that they were fighting over besides, I want to sit where Kingpin sits. Like, that's it. You know, like maybe the Kingpin is like changing something, or like is doing something that is going to like shift the dynamic in New York, and then that will give a reason for like all these bad guys to show up to be like, whoa, we don't want this. We don't want this to happen. So, but as of right now, they're kind of just fighting over a title. Anybody can just call themselves the Kingpin. Like, he doesn't need, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
So no.
No.
Okay. G.I. Jolie.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I give this 3 out of 3 Mary Jane headshots scattered to the wind out of 5.
Ooh,
Well, that's
okay.
better.
Okay.
Okay.
Bex Luthor.
I'm gonna give it 5. The Chameleons bringing you breakfast in bed out of 10.
Yeah.
And how does J. Jonah Jameson go to the bathroom out of 10?
He gets help.
Okay.
The Chameleon's not squeamish. He'll hold a dick or two. It's fine.
Oh, all right.
He changes his whole body. He knows what it looks like.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I thought about this. Don't worry.
Do we know that the Chameleon's a man, for the record?
What's that?
No.
I think
Is
so,
the
because
Chameleon a man?
he just wore a
I think so,
costume before
yeah.
and like prosthetics. So
Oh, you said that earlier. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was
His
like
name
the
is
schmoo.
Dimitri.
Oh,
Dimitri.
okay.
Yeah. No.
He's Russian.
Hey, so cousin Brandon, do you recommend this issue of Spider-Man?
No, I don't. But like you said, I think it's because it's running through all three of these. Then yes. But
Right.
as a I was like, honestly, I thought it was fine. I'd say it's like 4.5 out of 10.
Sure. Okay.
It's right there.
So slightly below average.
Yeah.
Okay. Bex Luthor, are you up for summarizing Amazing Spider-Man this week?
I can. I can
Awesome.
definitely do that.
Sweet.
Because Venom is back, baby. Kind of. You know.
Yeah. What an iconic cover.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
Beautiful. Did we
Yeah.
find the spider on the cover?
you know, I didn't look this week.
I didn't
actually.
look, but let me look
Let me
right
see,
now. Do you know about this,
yeah.
Brandon? Every issue of Amazing
Oh,
Spider-Man by
Cousin
McFarlane.
Brandon left for a second.
Oh, did he? I missed that. Okay.
You said burp.
But yeah, I see it right there.
Yeah. It's
But
It's near where?
like right bottom
I see
left,
it.
right to the right.
By the
yeah.
barcode.
Next to the UPC box or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is another one where it's like homaged a lot.
Right.
Oh yeah.
We got Venom kind of like over top of Spider-Man's body as he's like laying on the ground, and his arms and fingers are like tensed up. Venom's got blood dripping down his claws, and yeah, it's a classic.
It's a great cover. Yes.
Yeah. Was that enough time to stall? But
Yeah, I know I got it.
okay.
Teamwork. Yeah, and now for the insights that definitely reflect the cover. So we start off. Last time Venom had escaped had easily escaped the cell that they put him in, and so now he's in the sewer system because he's hiding out down there. Because Eddie Brock was a reporter, and I guess he figured out that there was tunnels that they used in the Cold War, so now he's hiding out down there. But not before he threatens just a homeless dude with death first, and then also kills a rat, which you lose points there, Eddie boy. Don't kill rats. That's not nice. So obviously Venom is pissed off and is gonna seek revenge on Spider-Man because that's pretty much his entire MO for the first 10 years of his existence. But first, Eddie Brock must lift weights, and thankfully there are weights to lift here. He even makes a point. He's like, you know, Venom symbiote, you've got super strength, but me, regular Eddie Brock, I have to pump iron. It's like, but you have the anyway. It doesn't.
I
You
had
gotta
the
draw
same.
some muscles.
Oh, I thought
If
that.
you've got superpowers and super strength, why do you have to lift weights? I don't get. I thought I had the same thought. I don't get it.
I thought he was talking to the theoretical Spider-Man. Like,
No, he's
if I
talking
take
to-
off
No,
my
to the
costume.
suit.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
I don't know
talking
why
to the
I read
suit,
it
yeah.
that way. I thought he was saying if I take off my costume, I don't have superpowers like you do. Okay, I see.
He's talking to the costume, to the
Gotcha.
symbiote, right? I know it gets very confusing in these early days of Venom because they're not, because the symbiote doesn't talk back yet.
Right.
And I wish it never did, but that's another story. Okay, anyway.
No, it needs to talk so it can tell Eddie he loves him. Anyway, so Peter's taking pictures because they have no money, and he needs to take pictures of non-Spider-Man things because J. Jonah will buy any Spider-Man pictures because for some strange reason Peter's spider sense keeps going off, and that's just probably nothing to worry about at all. So Peter finds himself just swinging around New York, and eventually he goes to drop off these pictures. Calls Mary Jane. He's like, "Hey, you okay?" And she's like, "Absolutely." She is not okay at all. And Peter's like, "Guess my wife's fine." She's not getting any modeling gigs. All of like her gigs have been canceled, or nobody's like hiring her. And she's like, "What's going on?" So this is so weird. We quickly go over to the Black Cat, who's still looking for Peter. Forgot about her for a bit. She's still going all over New York looking for Peter. She shows up at his old apartment that him and Mary Jane just got kicked out of. And who is there but Venom is there looking for Peter as well. They have a fight because Venom wants to know where Peter is, and she obviously doesn't know. So he like just smashes her face on the ground, and she's like, "I don't know where he is." And he's like, "That's fine. I believe you. I'm gonna go find his wife." And leaves, and the whole thing, and then Felicia's just like, "Wife," while she's just bleeding on the ground. So, you know,
Right.
priorities. Ladies. Back at so Mary Jane's leaving the apartment, and she sees Venom leave, and she's like, "Well, shit." So she heads home, and Aunt May's like, "Oh, you should talk to Mary Jane, Peter. She looks upset." So she's like, "Hey, Peter, Venom's back," and he's like, "Oh shit. BRB, I better go like fight him before he tries to fight me because he's gonna come here and kill everyone I love, and that's not cool." So he spends all night searching for Venom. Meanwhile, the whole time Venom is just trailing him.
Yeah.
Real funny, but because the Venom symbiote doesn't trigger Peter's spider sense, right? And Peter is dumb. Peter Parker is the dumbest, smartest man in Marvel Comics. 100%. 110%. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, my danger warning's going off.
Better
it's
leave my
fine.
wife.
Better
What
leave
do
my
we
wife
just talk
alone.
about?
It's probably nothing. A creature that's bent on destroying me has been escaped from jail.
That
I'm
sounds
just gonna
fine.
Yeah, I'll just swing aimlessly, but I didn't see him, so I guess I'll go home. And then Venom's like, going home, are you? And he's like, oh, no, I guess.
Hello.
No. Going
Just
home.
so dumb. So they have a little fight, and it turns out Venom is really strong, and it must be all of the weights. So Peter's like, well, shit. I can't win this fight, so he swings off. But he leaves all of his belongings behind, including a flyer that him and Mary Jane printed out that said, hey, we moved. This is our new address. Come find us here. Love,
Again.
Peter Parker and Mary Jane.
The
P.S.
dumbest.
If you're Venom,
Don't
not
come
hurt.
here. Right.
Yeah.
nobody named Peter Parker is here. Don't even worry about it.
He might as well have left his gym clothes there, and Venom found his underwear tag that has his name and address written on it. Like,
You know, here's the thing. There's so many things I love about this issue because I did read it as a kid many, many times. But what an anticlimax, eh? Like, he just, again, David Michelinie, it's like build up, build up, build up. And then what? He throws him against the wall, hits him against some slabs of beef, and then knocks him over, and it's done. That's it.
yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Imagine how much better it would be if we just see like Spidey's POV swinging through the city, and then we kind of see like silhouettes throughout, and he's like,
Yes.
can't find him, and then he gets back home to see MJ and make sure she's okay, and then it's revealed that Venom has been tracking him this entire time. So now
Great
MJ
idea. Yeah.
and Aunt May are in trouble,
Yeah.
and that's the cliffhanger that we're left on, instead of like
Yeah. and-
found a flyer with his name and new address on
But
it.
also the fact that he goes to a meat packing plant. Why? Like, why a meat? It's just stupid, you know? It's
Then-
just.
Must be
So
here.
that Venom can rip a pig apart. And so Peter can be like, ew, gross, pig guts. Ugh, I hate that.
Well, to Josh's point, we can fix this in post, number one, because I think that's a great idea. But number two, the fight scene too, after all that buildup too, was pretty bad. It wasn't all that interesting. So it's
Right.
like, and again, like the other thing we were just talking about with Webb, with the whole spider sense thing, Venom would fucking destroy Spider-Man if his spider sense doesn't work. He
Right.
would destroy Spider-Man. What are we
Right.
doing? What
Right.
are we doing? So yeah, I hate that. Ugh.
Well, here's the thing. There is a trend with almost every issue of Amazing where Spider-Man meets a classic villain and there's all this build-up, and the fight is over in like one page where he pulls the rug out from under him or he slips on a banana peel. It's just always some stupid climax, you know? And it's just, so this is definitely like an ongoing trend. And so it's, unfortunately, there's nothing to do about it. But I want to talk about the art because I actually think this is one of McFarlane's best issues yet. Like, there's so many good panels. First of all, I think he's one of only two artists that know how to draw Venom well. I mean, he is the co-creator, so he's one, and John Romita Jr. is another. I don't think anyone else really knows how to draw him. Eric Larson added those stupid, the big tongue and the drool and the crooked eyes, and then Mark Bagley made it uglier, and then everyone else exaggerated it. And I like Venom here, where he's a little bit more fluid, a little bit more slick. I like the smile, I like everything. And this issue, because you know, some issues of Amazing are rushed, but there's so many good panels or pages in this issue. Like when Spider-Man is swinging around after he's at the garbage dump, and on digital page 8, there's a great shot where he's swinging over, like you see the fence below him, and then there's a wide shot of him over the bridge. But then that last panel of him swinging towards the camera is just perfect. I'm surprised I've never seen it used in like merchandise or anything. I think that's great. And then there's some cool skinny panels of him pulling his mask off, and then that money shot of Mary Jane on the phone. Becca, I'm surprised you didn't say anything about that.
I said she was feeling not okay. I
Oh,
talked about her emotions, Mike.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
okay. And
Sorry, I wasn't just like, look at the legs. Wow.
Oh, too disappointed. And then what about that shot of Black Cat?
I was gonna say the butt shot.
I just sent it to everybody.
Yeah.
as a
Oh!
reminder.
Yeah.
Look at that peach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have a butt tally on the show. We don't anymore, eh?
It's all up here.
Uh-huh. But that's a good... Oh, go ahead, Becca.
Oh, it's a great shot of her ass, and then immediately below, it's her face getting smashed into the wall. So, you know,
Right.
just
Yeah.
we respect women here on the podcast.
Uh-huh.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nothing like objectifying a woman and then just destroying her. Cool.
That's
There's some good panels. Back to Spidey. The Spidey swinging over the city. Those are good. I mean, like Venom tearing apart the pig or the whatever it is. The cow is good.
Side of beef or something. Yeah,
Side
I
of
think
beef.
that's
Yeah, it's good.
whatever.
I mean, there's a lot of good art. I think this is one of McFarlane's best issues, personally. But G.I. Julie, I know that you shared your image with us, but other than that ass, what'd you think of this issue?
Yeah, it was decent. And there was one through line, and that was like Venom, woohoo! That like, we're talking about the art. I really enjoyed the art until it got really violent.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, that is the purpose of like, you know, Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld, that sort of style.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's not the purpose, but it's like, oh wow, this works really well in these super violent scenes. And like, I almost couldn't read Venom just hammering Black Cat until she's like, I don't know. It's definitely borderline for me. Like, her clothes are falling off and she looks like she's been whipped for hours.
Yeah.
Like she's taken lashings. It's kind of like, it's very, I don't know who they're catering to. Well, I know exactly.
Well, you know who.
Here.
14.
And it's almost like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
We've gone here now. And it's demeaning.
Yeah, I the Black Cat scene is kind of a bummer.
Mhm.
I wish that he would have just like scared her and intimidated her, and then the whole wife line, I think, would have been really good.
Yeah.
Like, she was scared for her life, and like Peter might be in danger, and then like the only thing that's like really sticking with her is like, oh my God, Peter has a wife now. So like that's kind of interesting, but it really sucks to see it after Venom just beats the shit out of her and like
Right.
crushes her skull in, and it's like it's an interesting idea that's like where her priorities are because
Sure.
of how much she loves Peter. But after that kind of abuse from this villain, it just feels weird that's what they
Sure.
that's where they went, I think.
Yeah.
the
Pretty
scene.
violent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can I? So if I can weigh in on this too.
Sure.
So two things. One, again, reading this as a 14-year-old, I would never have, I don't think, had that reaction. I would have just said, "Oh my God," you know, this is whatever. Reading it now, you know, it's much more triggering because I'm a 47-year-old man who never wants to see someone put their hands on a woman. Like, it's awful. It's but. The other thing I was going to say, though, is there some part of me as a 14-year-old that said, well, the Black Cat is also like a superhero.
Yeah.
And so she's part of this world. So if she gets beaten up by another supervillain, well, that's par for the course. It's not like, oh, I should feel this awful sense of dread because he's a man beating up a woman. Aren't they all superpowered? So it's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it depends on which lens you're looking at this through, I think. Like, I don't know.
They are super powered.
Mhm.
I actually was thinking about this while I was having those thoughts. But at the same time, it's the whole like priorities thing. So after she gets completely dressed down
Oh, I agree with this.
Yeah.
That's what that's what she says. That's what you have her say as the writers.
Oh, of course, because it's such a misogynist sort of. That's awful. I totally agree with that.
Not, oh, my poor broken body.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
Wait,
the man who
my man. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yes, I totally agree with that. Gross. So gross.
gross.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has everyone given some type of review for this issue yet?
I don't know. We've all kind of been like saying,
Weighing in.
Yeah, weighing in throughout. Yeah, I think it was a pretty solid issue. Again, the ending really stuck out to me as being like kind of a letdown. This like fight with Spidey and Venom. Like he's been gone for a year at this point, right? At least
2 years. 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So for this to be their first encounter is pretty disappointing. And yeah, that like last little bit of the Black Cat encounter kind of sat wrong with me. But other than that, I think it was a really great issue. And the art, like you were saying, Mike, is like McFarlane at his best, I think.
Also, is this not the first time we've seen Black Cat in like 2 years as well? Or am I wrong about that? Or longer?
No,
Really?
she's been around.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Did she pop in?
A few issues ago, she came back because she went to his old apartment to find him first.
Yeah.
Right. But she hasn't actually met him yet. She's just been following.
She's
like,
looking for him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So just so I'm clear, so this was issue 308, is that right?
No, this is 316.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like 2 years. How could it have been 2 years? Okay, I apologize.
Almost.
I was like he was in issue 300. I know that for sure. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Actually, you know
Sorry
what?
about that.
Considering that it went bi-weekly for a summer, knock off 3 issues. If this is, it's really only been a year.
Yeah.
That's true. It's only been a year. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
And I will just say too, I thought pretty much agree with everything Josh just said. But like you said, Michael, the artwork I love. I love the paneling. I love how non-conventional it is. Once again with McFarlane, where it's not just rectangles vertically and horizontally. He just breaks out of those. Again, I've told you many times, I love Todd McFarlane's artwork. So, I'm such a sucker for this time period and when he took over. So yeah, I love the art.
Yeah, and like we said, he sometimes gets sloppy, but in this issue, I think he's doing just fine. Like he's putting a lot of detail in there. There's a lot of grace to, some of the line work in here. So no complaints about the art here, definitely. Mm-hmm. So I am going to recommend this issue, even though the ending is really anticlimactic. I'm going to recommend this issue. Josh, what about you?
Yeah, I would.
All right. G.I. Jolie?
With mixed feelings, but also... Yeah, like, whatever. I feel like anyone reading it who is us, like, or maybe our age, within our age ranges, I should say, because our age ranges range. Like an adult reading this, sure, but not a child or even a teenager. There's just a lot of, like, weird shit that happens that I wouldn't even let a 14-year-old see.
Right.
Sorry. Just skip that one.
Okay. Bex Luthor?
Yeah, I mean, like the art's fine. The Black Cat stuff just really sticks out to me. It's just like the shot of her ass and then smashing her face. Like, cool. That's pissed me off a bit. And also, like, she didn't do anything to Venom. And previously, Venom's like, oh, the killing of innocents. I can't handle that because he's supposed to be a good church boy. I guess hating women is part of the church, so that's fine. Never mind. It's fine. Everything in the issue is fine. I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10 conveniently placed dumbbells in a Cold War shelter.
All right, and then Brandon, you kind of gave your recommendation already, right?
I did. Yeah, but to that point, 7 out of 10 Black Cat asses.
All right. All right.
Hey,
okay.
Cheeks would be like 14.
Okay, now we're gonna jump to Spectacular Spider-Man 151. This is continuing the saga of Robbie Robertson in jail with new cellmate kind of Tombstone. So yeah, basically we start off this issue with Spidey sneaking into this jail, and we should point out this issue is named after the awesome 80s Sylvester Stallone vehicle Lockup, which is all
Great movie.
one of our favorite movies. Yep.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
That's my
hey,
spot.
Michael,
Yeah.
right up top, again, one of the great screen captures I took. So the very first page of the comic, I don't know if you clocked this or not, it's at the Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. That's about an hour from me.
Oh,
and it
no
actually,
way.
it's a real place. Yeah, it's a real place.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Attention to detail there.
Yeah.
That guard still working there.
Yeah.
No one likes it. You know what? Nobody likes the dog who is now dead. That artwork. That dog. Bad artwork though. Poorly drawn dog.
We'll talk about that later. But anyway, so yeah, Spidey sneaks in, and he's like trying to communicate with Joe Robertson, but Joe Robertson's kind of trying to brush him off, and the reason he's brushing him off is because right next to him, in the cell next to him, is Tombstone.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the reason that he's there, because the reason he's in jail is because he covered up a crime that Tombstone committed. So yeah, this is, awesome melodrama. I love it. So then we get this weird subplot with this security guard who sees footage of Spider-Man swinging away, and he's like, maybe I should report it. And then he's like, maybe not, because the Daily Bugle is looking for pictures that make Spider-Man look like a menace. So I'm going to keep this videotape, and maybe I'll do something with it, right? So then we cut over to, what's her name? Gloria. What's her last name again?
Grant.
Gloria Grant, who stumbles into a meeting between her boyfriend, like the other, like his other henchmen, and like basically like a mafia family. And I don't know why the door's not freaking locked, but like they keep talking even when she comes in, right? It's ridiculous. So then he's like, yeah. He's like, don't worry about it. Family, business, see you later. And then she leaves. Oh, and then he asked her to, is this where he asked her to steal the file in the Kingpin for him?
No, she already did that.
Okay, she already did that. Okay. So basically she's like, oh, whatever. So then he gives her a kiss, makes everything all right, and then she leaves. And then we cut over to Flash Thompson having dessert. Well, not dessert, but breakfast with this is what's her name? Betty, right? Betty. Yeah.
Brand.
And then Gloria stumbles into like the diner and is like, they're like, oh, Gloria, what's wrong? And she's like, oh, everything. The man I love is a mobster, and he's made me a thief. She doesn't even mention the fact that he's a werewolf, but okay.
She doesn't know that yet.
Oh, she doesn't know that. Okay.
Who hasn't said that? Yeah, I mean, we've all been there.
I can't believe it. This reveal at the end of this issue.
It was him the whole time.
We'll get to that in a minute. Then we cut over to Thomas Fireheart, our favorite anti-hero, running through the desert, changing into Puma, and like narrating his like life story and about how he owns a multinational corporation. And then he's looking at the Daily Bugle, and he sees that Spider-Man is connected to an attempted prison breakout, and he's like, what's going on? So then he's got to go look into it. So then we cut over to Peter and Mary Jane, who are still having problems finding an apartment. And then Peter Parker's like, that does it. And so he's getting fed up with the way that the supposedly J. Jonah Jameson is portraying him in the Bugle, but we know it's not J. Jonah Jameson. So he changes into Spider-Man, and we cut over to the prison, and Joe Robertson is like, what does he do? Oh, he's like kind of like ironing pants here with like some kind of.
This is right on Shawshank. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then Tombstone comes in, and Tombstone's trying to like intimidate him, and he puts his hands on him. He's trying to choke him, but then all of a sudden, this huge guy comes out of nowhere and basically steps in and protects Joe Robertson. And he's like gigantic. He's bigger than Tombstone. And what's his name again?
I think Bruiser, maybe.
Yeah, Bruiser. They give his name. So he's. But this is kind of funny though, because he walks away with Joe, and he says to Tombstone, I think we all ought to be nice. And then he looks at Joe, and he's like, don't you, little guy? You want to be nice, don't you? You want to be my special friend, don't you? fellas here call me Bruiser, little guy. What's your name? Joe Robertson. Yo, Joe, you and me, we're going to be special friends. And I'm thinking, that's not what you want to say to a guy in prison, you know?
Okay, we have to talk about this.
Okay, go ahead.
This was the final screen capture that I took.
Right.
The fact that 14-year-old me did not realize that Joe Robertson was about to be someone's prison bitch is really fucked up. Like, that is messed up. Because I read this and I was like, this man is going to anally rape Joe Robertson.
Yes.
That is what's going to happen.
Yes.
This is not okay. How could you put this in a comic in 1985? I was very disturbed by this, and Joe doesn't look happy either, for the record.
Well, it kind of works because 14-year-old me didn't know what the hell was going on, but like 46-year-old me is like, oh, I get it now, right? So
holy hell.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So then we cut over to, what's his name? Katzenberg. He's like the new slime ball that's been taking pictures for the Daily Bugle. Spider-Man webs him up and suspends him to like a streetlight and is like, he's like, whose idea was this campaign against me? You or J. Jonah Jameson? And he's like, oh, it was JJJ. So then Katzenberg drops to the ground. Spider-Man swings away. Katzenberg goes to the Daily Bugle, and he goes into J. Jonah Jameson's office. And just as he comes in, we see Spider-Man has webbed up JJJ to the ceiling. Katzenberg gets a shot of it, but just at that moment, Flash Thompson's there. So he's trying to wrestle away Katzenberg's camera. And then Spider-Man's like, oh, screw this. So he swings away. And then J. Jonah Jameson, who's actually the Chameleon, is like, he's like, cancel the current run. Print Katzenberg's picture of Spider-Man torture me on page 1, right? So everyone's like, oh, he's at it again. You know, what's gotten into J. Jonah Jameson, whatever. So then we see at the end of this scene that it's actually the Chameleon, just like we already knew, right? But hey, maybe there were some readers that were only reading Spectacular and they didn't know because it was revealed in Web that this was actually the Chameleon, right? Who knows? So then we cut over to Gloria Grant coming home to her apartment. He runs into Flash Thompson and Betty. Oh, no, she's still with them from earlier. And they're like saying goodbye to her. So then she goes into her apartment, and then sure enough, Eduardo Lobos is in there. What's going on? Uh-oh. And right before her eyes, he's like, basically he's like, you know too much. And then he changes right before her eyes. And he's like, especially, what does he say? He's like, I heard the doubt in your voice this morning, mi amor, the fear. And now I know sooner or later you will betray us, especially when you learn the truth of what we are. Carlos and I, we are Los Hermanos Lobos, the brother wolves. And then he changes into a big werewolf. And then the climax of the issue is ruined because he could have just left it. The writer could have, Gerry Conway. It should have ended with the brother wolves, but then he adds, "Forgive me, Gloria, I truly loved you," and that's it. That's the end. Yeah.
They had to add that though. I don't think that ruined it. That is the cliffhanger. I truly loved you means he's obviously going to eat her.
Past tense. Yeah, we're gonna find out what happens next issue, but I think this is a pretty good issue. Nice little culmination of the Los Lobos or whatever they are storyline. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I got no issue with the way Sal Buscema drew the dog at the beginning. I love the writing. I love the art. But Cousin Brandon, why don't you tell us? Cousin Brandon, he's gone.
No,
okay,
I'm still here.
You're still there.
Why
don't you tell us what you
thought?
Okay, what'd you think of this issue, just off the top of your head?
I thought it was okay. I was sort of in the same headspace as I was with the Web issue. So
okay.
Where I was like, it wasn't terrible, wasn't great, but it helped to sort of push the whole werewolf story forward. The weird thing is, this of the three, this was the only cover that I actually remembered from when I was a kid. And again, I think it's because I just love Tombstone so much, and he was just always one of my favorite characters.
Yes.
But I thought there was some real shitty artwork at times, and I thought no, there was. Again, there was one specific panel of a dog where I'm like, that is just a shape. Like, that is not a dog. Like, fuck you for trying to pretend. Oh, the dog sniffed it. You have a leash on a blob. Is what you have. I hate that. And again, there's more. It's like my Spidey sense has gone off. Not sure why, but whatever.
Uh-huh.
I didn't like any of that. But and the other one last thing, and again, I've not been reading along with you for all these issues. The fact that Flash is still such a fanboy is pretty embarrassing. I for some reason, I find his devotion and dedication to Spider-Man. You're a grown man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but I mean that's like a continuation of like he's been like that since like the very beginning, so I don't mind it. I don't know.
No, but like at one point he's like sleeping with Betty and fantasizing about Spidey. Like, yeah, enough.
Yeah, what kind of grown adult dedicates so much time to Spider-Man? I mean, certainly not anybody who would make sure to book off every Wednesday night so that they could record a Spider-Man related podcast.
I only come here.
Certainly not.
I only come here occasionally. But put it this way, I'm not fighting a photographer over his opinion of Spider-Man. To be fair. So,
depends how many beers in we
enough.
are. But I've had that conversation at a convention before, so.
Well, there's my.
You don't like Ben Riley?
Oh, that was me on the receiving
I was gonna
end of that.
say,
Yes,
yeah.
Anyway.
there's Mike.
Okay, Josh, what'd you think of this one?
Yeah, it was okay. I'm really happy that Spectacular has ditched these awful prelude or interludes.
Like interludes, yeah, okay.
Oh my god, I'm happy that this is just a story and everything that happens in the story happens in this story. Like it's not hinting at something else in the future. It's I know this is like a nitpicky and it's more of just like funny. It's not actually a problem I have with the comic, but who the hell delivered the newspaper to Puma's house in the middle of the desert?
Okay, that's a good point. That's a fair point.
Like running through a desert.
Racing a hare. Yeah.
Rocks, like these gigantic boulders and cacti, like nothing is in like within miles of him. He gets home and he picks up the newspaper. Huh? What's this? Some news going on in New York?
Oh, wait, but to be fair though, he is
newspaper.
But isn't he like the CEO of Thomas or Firehead Enterprises? So like you see him running past that hare, and then he's running to like an ultra modern kind of like mansion. So maybe
Maybe he has a housekeeper.
Yeah, something.
It is nitpicky. Like it was just so funny to see him running through the desert and then picking up the newspaper for a newspaper from a city in another country. I'm assuming he's not in. Oh no, he would be.
No, he'd be like in Nevada or something, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
New Mexico.
It says New Mexico. It says he's in New Mexico.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's so far. That's the other side of the country. Literally opposite sides, right?
Ironic.
But Spider-Man is a big deal everywhere, isn't he?
But the
Daily Bugle.
Oh,
News,
but
right?
Isn't that like getting the New York Times is available in corner stores in Windsor? So wouldn't the Daily Bugle be available?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I think Cousin Brandon has something to say about geography.
No, I was just going to say, ironically, so obviously this takes place in New York, but the two states they mention outside of New York, Pennsylvania and New Mexico, two places I've lived. How about that?
Oh, isn't that interesting? Huh.
Yeah. So this was written for me. I guess that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, okay. I was like, so this is written about you?
Yeah.
You
I
are
am
Thomas
Puma.
Fireheart?
I am Puma. Sorry, that's the big reveal, everyone. Good night.
Yeah. It was a fine issue though. I'm completely shocked by the ending though. I can't believe it.
You can't believe it. See, Josh didn't know.
I
I love that he had Carlos and I, my brothers, we are los hermanos lobo, and that actually translates to the brothers wolves. You might not have noticed that, but anyways, I used to love you. Now I'm gonna eat you. I love that he has to explain his cool name.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too much. between the jail scenes and the werewolf stuff. I just don't even know.
What do you think, G.I. Jolie?
This was actually the best book of the 3 this week. The most entertaining for sure. And I really kind of like the art aside from the blob dogs.
Oh, me
the
too.
blob dogs. The art is just like that's the thing though. It's like it's just art. It's just comic art. It's not like it's not trying to do the things that we see or that Josh points out that McFarlane does that are really like kind of nice and revolutionary sort of. It just exists with the text in a beautiful way to deliver a really
good story.
Wild story.
That's our pal Sal. Yep.
I feel like his art is always timeless.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels just like comic art that could have come out like a decade before or after 89.
And he was literally drawing a decade before and a decade after. So you're totally right.
Yeah.
Right. And we should point out, I don't want to get sappy, but Sal Buscema is still alive. So if you're ever at a comic convention and you meet him, definitely say hi to him because, and I don't want to be cryptic or morbid, but we never know when these people are going to leave us, right? Like my biggest regret was going to a convention in Michigan and having a chance to interview Herb Trimpe. And I'd already put my camera away. I was like, I'll just get him next time. There was no next time. So anyway.
Excuse my ignorance. So who is Herb Trimpe? I don't know the name.
Herb Trimpe, he's the artist for
the Hulk.
He drew the Hulk for like 12 years. He's the original artist of G.I. Joe. So if you look at the original, like all the promo art for G.I. Joe in the beginning, like number 1 to like number 12, it's all Herb Trimpe. Herb Trimpe also drew early issues of Transformers. He drew, he's kind of just like, he's like Sal Buscema. He's like a classic Marvel artist that was never like a superstar, but if you saw his art, you'd probably recognize it.
He did a lot of Marvel
Sal Buscema. Oh, okay. Because that's another one I collected and read, but because Sal Buscema, like I that's even a guy I knew. I mean, again, I know because I read Spider-Man, but I mean, I thought he was pretty awesome.
But like if you read Hulk in the 70s, it would have been Herb Trimpe for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Sorry, didn't know the name.
He drew that cover of The Incredible Hulk with the first appearance of Wolverine, right?
Yes, that's right. He drew the whole issue. He drew the whole issue. That's right. Yeah.
Well, I know that one. I didn't realize that's what that was. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, so where were we?
Talking about Spectacular.
Yeah.
Talk about Spider-Man. Early things.
I love those few panels of Chameleon turning from JJ to the Chameleon. His face like melting almost before it reforms back into the Chameleon is really great and like just kind of shows you how disturbing that would be. Like especially if you're like in the room with him. Normally they kind of just like cut away and then when they show him in the next panel he's somebody else.
Sure.
So it's kind of seeing like the stages of it like deforming is pretty cool.
This is like who's the actor that played the Phantom of the Opera? Was that Lon Chaney?
Jared Leto.
Senior? Yeah, there you go. Jared Leto. There you go. In 1930.
Butler?
No, it's Gerard Butler. Right.
Yeah.
It's Lon Chaney.
It's Lon Chaney.
The one that you're thinking of is Lon Chaney.
Played in the original? Okay.
Yeah, Senior. Yeah.
I was like, no, at least Jared Leto could sing better. I was like, that can't be right. But yeah. I was thinking of Gerard Butler.
Anyway,
Jared Leto is the Phantom. Sorry.
Anyway, so
he's a weird, creepy person.
Do you think he would like live in a theater?
Absolutely.
Covered in candles?
The entire time filming?
Wait, Jared Leto, you're saying?
As the Phantom.
I think he still does. So yes.
He's preparing for Andrew Lloyd Webber to ask him to play the Phantom, so he has been living in a theater since the end of Morbius. What a
movie, by the way? Did anybody watch Morbius?
Oh, we reviewed it, of course.
Was it garbage? It looks like garbage.
It was shit.
Okay,
It
I
was
assume.
worse than garbage because it
Okay.
wasn't even enjoyable garbage.
That's what I figured. I saw the trailer. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! This is."
You can rent it right now for $6.99.
I'm not going to do that, but thank
Why?
you.
That's what I thought when I brought it to streaming. I was like, oh, it's not free?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God, that looks like a nightmare. And I mean,
Oh, by the way, I got to give a little bit of historical context for this issue. So I remember specifically buying this issue because I was so obsessed with Spider-Man that I had to own every single comic that he appeared in.
yeah, me too.
And yeah, and that's I don't know what it is about Spidey, but I remember specifically buying this issue just because of that reason. And if you look at the date on this, this was cover dated June 1989, which means it probably came out about 3 months earlier. But keep in mind, folks, this is 3 months before the Batman film was released. So this is like comic books were exploding in popularity at the time. It was a fun time to be alive. By the way, Cousin Brandon, while we're talking about Batman quickly, I will point out that I was the second person in my school to have a Batman shirt because no one had a Batman shirt. Only one girl had a Batman shirt. Everyone made fun of her. Then I had one. And then after the movie came out, everybody had a Batman shirt.
Oh, so you had the Batman shirt before Batman came out?
I think so. I had a Batman sweater. Yeah, it was like a black sweater.
A sweater? So what was the logo? Like which iteration of Batman?
It was the Michael Keaton. Well, okay. To be fair, it was the movie logo, which was not the same as the one on the costume, but it was the classic, yellow circle.
Well, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, good for you.
Thank you.
Big ups.
What's that girl doing? What's she up to?
I just saw her. She
You
works at the
mean
grocery.
Mrs. L?
No, yeah. No, she actually works at the grocery store.
Mrs.
She
L.
basically, I hadn't seen her in 20 years, and she was not nearly as excited as I thought she would be. She didn't give a shit. I was like, hey, what's going on? She didn't give a shit. Yeah, so anyway.
Like, oh, that guy from my high school.
Great-
Cool.
great-
Batman.
Batman sweater. Hey, what's going
Yeah,
on?
Batman sweater guy. I remember you. Yeah.
He comes up,
For me, oh, real cool.
remembers me because of that shirt I wore once. Cool, not creepy at all.
You said a name her on a podcast. Anyway.
Yeah.
Everyone made fun of me.
Okay, so I've got a question about that you might know, Mike. When they're making these issues, how far in advance are they finishing the issue before it's released?
Well,
Usually.
I mean,
Do you know?
I don't know exactly, but if it's published 3 months ahead of time, it's probably not as ahead as you think. Like, I don't know. I don't really know. But I mean, the fact that issues in the 70s especially were sometimes late means that, it probably was only ready to go like a week or two before it was published. So the fact that it was late means in the 70s, that's why there were so many reprints, right? Because people were just like, oh, it's not ready in time.
I only ask because the cover date is June.
Yeah,
And then it was released probably 3 months before, you're saying, right?
I think so, yeah.
But the calendar in Tombstone's prison says August.
Wow. Look at that.
Ah, okay.
So I was curious to see if maybe it was like originally planned for that day and then stuff was shifted, or maybe it was just August that's when like the artists like.
Well, maybe they're like, oh, this will come out
birthday's
around
August or
August,
something.
but they're wrong.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the
Right
babe
now.
on the calendar, though. Get
Yeah.
rid of that babe. Tombstone likes babes?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't
Man,
think Tombstone.
people.
Tombstone's asexual. I don't think he's into anybody.
I disagree. I think Tombstone's into the ladies because you know what? And if not, I'm into Tombstone. I am. I think Tombstone's a babe.
He
He's
is
got
weirdly
that look.
obsessed with
I
Rob.
always said I love how he's drawn. I think I don't know. Big fan.
Yeah, he's really cool.
Oh, he has a daughter, right? The beetle.
Yeah. You mean is it White Rabbit or no? Is that a different character? Oh, that's a different character.
No, yeah. No, Tombstone
Because-
does have a daughter. So
Yeah, 'cause
Tombstone
we're-
does
Oh.
fuck.
Yeah.
But we don't know if he likes it or not, though.
Because right now in Amazing,
Well-
Tombstone is the villain. Yes.
We
Yeah, like
don't know that
current-
he fussed. His seed may have been inseminated into a young woman.
Tombstone is a sperm donor.
And Bruiser's seed might have been
That was my
inseminated into
point.
Joe Robertson. But anyway.
We don't make those kind of jokes, Mike.
Oh,
By the
okay.
way, they have to make a Tombstone reboot where he's just where he gets stoned all the time. So Tombstoner would be great.
Oh, that would be good.
I'm gonna work on the script once we get off the phone.
One of those like late '90s stoner flicks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
Harold and Tombstoner go to White Castle.
I love it.
And everything is the same, but just that one actor's replaced with Tombstone.
The scene where they're
Nothing is different. That's so good. It's Tombstone. Sure. Love it.
Neil Patrick Harris comes back,
Yep.
oh,
We'll just CGI Kumar out at this point. We'll just use the same footage.
oh.
Can I ask an unrelated comic book question? Really
Yeah.
quick? I've been thinking about this. So I'm currently watching. I'm in the midst of season 3 of the Umbrella Academy. Do you guys watch that?
I saw season 1 only.
Yeah. I want to watch it though.
Okay, so
Jolie?
I have not watched it.
Oh no!
Oh, wow. I'm surprised.
and Bex, you've not either.
I didn't like the comics, so I never watched the show. But
Okay, that's what I was going to ask if anybody read the. So I really enjoyed the show. I think it's a really fun watch. I've not read the comic. I was just curious if any of you had read it, but
Oh yeah. I enjoyed the comic a lot, actually,
oh,
and that's why I kind of found myself wanting to like the show. However, I kind of try to look at adaptations as like another version of your favorite thing, if it is in fact your favorite thing. So you get to enjoy not one version of it, but two. But
mhm.
this was like, I was satisfied with the first season, and then the rest of them kind of like fell off. Mostly because like I don't like Elliot Page.
I'm
I've
not a
never
huge
really
fan.
liked him as an actor, so
I thought season 1 was pretty good, but not good enough to continue. So yeah.
yeah.
But Jolie, it sounded like earlier you'd never seen it, but obviously I knew you had.
Yeah, I haven't seen the most current season.
Does the show go beyond the comic, or is the show still an adaptation of the comic?
Kind of both.
Interesting. Okay.
I know that the creator is also really involved with the show.
Yeah.
So even if they go back past the comics, I'm assuming it's going to be kind of similar to
Okay.
where the direction of the comics are going to go. Because I know the creator is very heavily involved in the Netflix show.
Okay. I think part of the I just brought it up. Part of the reason I'm guessing you've watched The Boys too. Like I
Oh
look
yeah.
is very much not a traditional hero story, and I feel that way about the Umbrella Academy, and I love all the time travel. There's just things I'm crazy about. So
Yeah.
I just was curious. Sorry,
Hmm.
I'm excited, but I figured I'd ask.
Yeah. Like The Boys, as you mentioned, that's an example of what I'm talking about, where it's like, oh, I kind of I really enjoyed the comic because it was crass and disgusting and also kind of fun, a fun take. And then the show is just like, it's an adaptation, but it's like an even better take on what exists.
Okay.
Right.
I've not read the comic either, but
Yeah.
I love the show. It is
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
fun watch. Oh my
I love
God.
it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So great.
very good.
So here's the thing. We could talk about this stuff all night, but unfortunately we got to wrap this episode up.
All right.
I didn't
that's
like
you.
this one, by the way.
Oh,
Oh yeah, we didn't get recommendations. I highly recommend it. Becca, do you recommend
Oh, I
it?
didn't review it at all.
Okay, Becca, you do your review. I'll be back in a minute. I have to go to the washroom.
I was gonna do it in like 2 sentences.
Not that I don't want to hear your review, but
That's fine. I'm not offended. I'm offended.
I'm offended too.
No, all I was gonna say is I didn't like it because I don't like Robbie and I don't like Tombstone and I hate the Puma. So the fuck this issue.
That's fair. Yeah, it's so strange. I really liked the Robbie story when it first started, but it's just been dragging on for so long. I'm so over it at this point. I really like that the spectacular issues, they kind of take characters that are part of Peter's life and bring them into the foreground, and we kind of like see more of like what's going on with Peter Parker and his friends rather than just Spider-Man and his foes. So when they started focusing on Robbie and Tombstone, I thought it was great, and then they just didn't stop. They just kept going forever. And I'm just over it at this point. Like, I don't know. It feels like they didn't exactly know what direction they wanted to go, so they just kept Robbie in this place of like, I gotta tell the truth of what happened. No, I can't. Oh, I gotta. No, I can't. And then it was like the court case. I'm like, okay, finally they're moving on. No, we're gonna be in court for issues and issues and issues. And then now we're following him in prison. I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm ready for this subplot to be over. It could be. I think it could be even fun to like read a retelling of this story, truncate it, so it's like done again but better. Because I don't know, it's a really interesting idea. I'm over it at this point.
Yeah. He's just like this. Robbie's like this weird vehicle for like pain.
Yeah.
And like prolonged pain. I get what you're saying about the whole, like, I don't enjoy watching this whole Tombstone Robbie Robertson saga play out.
Yeah.
It's boring, and it's been happening for the equivalent of what, a year?
At least.
I just have to point out that even the editors at Marvel, when these pages came in, they rushed into Jim Salicrup's office to see what was happening with Joe Robertson and Tombstone this week. So I think it's an awesome subplot.
Nothing's happening.
Yeah,
with
I
him.
think
He's
it's
in
happening.
jail, and it sucks.
No, it's awesome, and it made me buy every issue of Spectacular.
See, I felt the same when it first started, but at this point, I'm like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it's just been going on for far too long.
Don't worry, it's going to keep on going on for another year. Anyway, okay.
Hey, if anyone is reading currently Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6, oh, guess who's back?
Tombstone.
Tomb Boy.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but how much of any of this has gotten retconned? Who knows? Or has not happened in the Marvel Universe, or
It is
hasn't
weird.
happened.
I must say, it is hard to read this story and then read Amazing Spider-Man right now and find out that Joe Robertson's son is dating Tombstone's daughter.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
what?
Randy's dating Beetle, right?
Right.
And
I
I
thought you were
looked
gonna-
her up. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I looked her up. I was like, oh, who's her mom? Because I know she's Tombstone's daughter. It just says unnamed mother. I was like, so does Tombstone fuck or not? I need to know.
I thought you were going to say that Joe Robertson's son was sharing a cell with Tombstone.
So spoilers, but I guess Randy does divorce whatever this one girl is, whoever he's married to right now. This white woman whose name escapes me. Shocking. Everyone gets divorced. It's Marvel Comics. Or sometimes you sell your marriage to Satan. Either or.
Or they beat your head to the ground and they just show your ass. So,
Right.
The three ways to end a relationship.
Well, Mike.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess, is that it?
Yeah, I think so. You want to tell everybody what we're going to be doing next week?
Well, yeah, first, before that, I want to thank Cousin Brandon for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Once again, it's always a pleasure. I really do enjoy talking with you folks. You're very funny. And,
You're basically, you're welcome every week. Like, just pop in.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if you read the comics. Just pop in anytime, okay?
let me know. Just tell me when you're doing the shows. I may or may not be drunk. I will be drunk, but I may or may not. Yeah, let me know for sure.
Awesome. Okay, we want to thank Bex Luthor for joining us.
You're welcome. And I definitely wasn't late because I was buying comic books.
And hopefully the old people you ran over will forgive you because they know it's for this podcast, right?
We're all going to hell together, so it'll be
Yay!
Perfect. And I want to thank G.I. Jolie for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right.
You're welcome.
And just so everyone knows, next week we are once again going to be reviewing episodes of the cartoon, including an episode called The Vampire Queen, another one called The Return of the Green Goblin, and another one called The Haunting of Mary Jane Watson.
You know
And
what
we will
that
have special guest Erica Rock, who's joining us again, and maybe cousin Brandon. Who knows? Never know these days. But anyway, Josh, you can take it from here.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Please let us know what you guys think about the podcast and the issues or TV shows that we're talking about. You can find us anywhere you can find podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube. You can also check us out on our website at the Comic Book Syndicate. Leave us a comment or a like or whatever, either on Twitter or Facebook at the Comic Book Syndicate. Keep in touch. Let's keep that comics conversation going.
All right, and until next Monday, Spider Friends, go for it!